All right. Well, what's up, everyone? We got another podcast. This one with Quebec people, but in English, for the sake of being able to understand each other. If I'm being honest. Yeah, we got Nico Greer, Liam Noseworthy, Ethan Drake, which we're going to talk a lot about kind of going to college with kind of a different path than myself, Zach Miller, Alexis Martin, Pouliot, and Tristan LeBlanc have done a total different path, which is very interesting and probably more accessible because of how the rules have changed. Sorry, how the rules have changed and things like that with the OLA and going to play with for us like with junior and stuff, where you guys had to deal with kind of different situations, which I think is very interesting. Um, so we're kind of gonna cover that and just how your school year's been, junior lacrosse, all of that. And kind of I also want to talk about like the transition to going to live in the US, which is I know for myself was a little weird my freshman year and then got used to it. And now that I just graduated, it's good to get you guys as two guys that just did it, and then for Liam that's gonna experience that next year. So just to introduce our guest today for everyone that's listening. So I'll start with Nico Greer. He's going to St. Thomas Aquinas College, the Spartans. You guys are D2. And also, by the way, just feel free to correct me if any of this is wrong. All
Yeah.
right. Um, Nico scored 22 points, 13 goals, 9 assists. Great freshman season. He went to Champlain College in Lennoxville, Sherbrooke, in Quebec. He plays for the North Shore Kodiaks Junior C, which it's your last year, right?
Yeah, it's my last year right now.
Last year for Nico, so that's going to be good. And he got the opportunity to play with the Beaches too this year with Charles, which
Yeah,
was pretty sweet to see. How did that go?
that was honestly such a great experience. Like, I wasn't really expecting it, honestly, came kind of out of the blue. I just kind of, so the game was on a Thursday, and then Wednesday, like evening, I got a call from Davin, kind of presenting the opportunity to go play with the Beaches. And I had to rearrange my Thursday schedule because it wasn't something that I wanted to miss, and I made the drive Thursday afternoon. And honestly, it was a really good experience. Kind of not necessarily what I was expecting, but maybe it would have been a different experience if it was like my first year junior. Now like it's my fifth year, so I
Yeah.
kind of I've been around junior lacrosse for a while. But yeah, it definitely was insane.
Yeah, we'll get more into that because I kind of had to do the same thing my first year, just like driving middle of a day.
Yeah,
It's a whole different thing. But yeah, so with Ethan, Ethan goes to St. Michael's College. The Purple Knights also in D2. Also, Nick, you're in the NE10, correct?
I'm in the ECC.
ECC, and
Um,
then Ethan, you're in the NE10,
yeah,
right? Um, Yeah, Ethan, 15 points, 8 goals, 7 assists. Made the all rookie team for the NE10, which is not something that's easy to do. So congrats for that. That's awesome. Also went to Champlain College, and I see that you have the hat, and I didn't know if I had that correct in my notes. You are with the Hunters still this year?
No, I aged out last year, so this year trying out for the Mohawks right now.
Sweet. All right. Well, so for everyone trying out for the Mohawks, so that's cool. Um, you guys started the season, right?
First game's today, so
Is it? All right. So is
got
that why you're going to Ottawa after this?
yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So when do we have to be done for you?
I got all the time in the world. I only have to leave at 4, so
All
yeah.
right. So we should be done. Hopefully we'll be done before 4 o'clock. And then last one, Liam Noseworthy. He just committed this year to St. Thomas Aquinas College. Going to go join Nico, which is pretty cool. He went to Champlain College. Plays also with the North Shore Kodiaks Junior C. Um, and you also got the experience to go play Junior B with the Gloucester Griffins this year. Tell us a little bit about that. How was that?
Yeah, it was fun. It was the first time that I got like above C.
So I've always been seeing I started. So I went last week, Tuesday night or Wednesday night. And yeah, it was really fun. We played in Akwesasne. So it was a
Sweet.
cool first game to be a part of. It was nice. It was intense, fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
No fight or anything?
No, nothing like that. It actually was a really clean game, to be honest. It got a
Really?
little towards the end. I think the final score was 15-8 or something. So we kind of ran
For
away.
you or for Akwesasne?
For us. But
Sweet.
it was pretty clean the whole game and a little chippy towards the end because of course up by what we were, but
Yeah.
nothing crazy where it was like, oh, watch your head. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah. That's sweet. I actually almost played for the Griffs when I got drafted junior A, the Griffs were like the affiliated team with the beaches. So I went to do like the camps and stuff over there. I just didn't feel like driving 2 hours
Problem.
like 3 times a week,
Yeah.
like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday every week for a whole summer. But no, they were getting a lot better that year, and I think I mean you got the experience. I think they actually have a solid team, which is um, fun to see because they were pretty bad for a couple of years. Like I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So no, that's sweet. Um, if not, like how was especially for Nico and Ethan going into freshman year here, how was the school year? Talk to us about the school in general, the team, the feeling of kind of getting to another like another level, facing different challenges and stuff. I don't know, whoever wants to go first,
I got Ethan
but
go first.
All right. So St. Michael's is a smaller campus. It's a lot smaller of a campus. There's only about um, 2 or 3 thousand students there, and
right,
a good chunk of them are student athletes. We have a really big student athlete population there. For me personally, it was really tough. My first 5 weeks there, just not knowing if it was for me, not knowing many people on the team. It was just really. I was confused as to what was going on. But
yeah,
it really started to open up after those 5 weeks. I started finding my place, finding my group of people there, and the team and the coaching staff were just awesome. They were there the entire time. So it really helps that you have a support system there when you get there because you're not the only one, right? All your guys in your class are in the same thing. Not first time being away from home, but you know, kind of being away in a different country is.
yeah,
Even though I was only about an hour and a half away from home, which was really nice, you're still far in a different country. There's still that culture shock, even if you're an hour and a half away. So it was really something I had to get used to. But once I found that click, it was awesome. From there, it was just a great time.
yeah. Also, before Nico, before you go, do you guys live together, Liam and Ethan?
No, we live like 2 seconds away. His house is right down the
Oh,
street.
all
We
right,
live together.
cool. All right, sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Oh yeah, so for me, thankfully, I have to say it kind of was like an easier transition for me than what it sounds like for Ethan. At first, honestly, when I arrived, at first I didn't have the chance to like visit the campus prior, which we could get into later. But my recruitment process was a pretty unique situation, I would say. Um, but I didn't have time to visit the campus in person. Um, I I only saw like pictures and videos, so I wasn't really sure what to expect at first. But when I arrived, honestly, I was greeted with a lot of guys in a similar situation. Like our incoming freshman class was, I think, like 12 or 15 guys, and we became close like pretty early because we're all living either with each other or like right next door from each other. So we're kind of always helping each other out with all knowing each other's situations. And there definitely was like a culture shock, I would say, not just coming from a different country, but like just the Quebec culture is like super different than the American culture. So at the beginning, it was a little bit of a difficult adjustment, but it was relatively easy for me to kind of find my grounds where I am, where I was in like the team and stuff like that, and like Ethan said, like the support staff that you have around you definitely like aids in that big change.
Where is St. Thomas?
So we're like around 15 miles right outside of New York City. So
Oh, jeez.
we're in like Rockland County. That's like the county. So we're in like the school's in a residential area. But if you drive, you know, like 25, 30 minutes, you're in Manhattan, which is very nice because you're not in like the action packed life of like the city, but like you have access to it like relatively close, which is really nice.
Did you guys end up going to the city a lot or no?
I probably went like a handful of times, but it is kind of difficult to go because it's like you got lacrosse like 5, sometimes 6 out of 7 days, and it's like that one day where you have a rest. Sometimes it's just you just want to relax in bed. You
Yeah.
don't want to kind of get out and walk around the busy city, but I definitely found time and was able to go a couple, for like 3, 4 times, which was really nice to see. Like I had never been before, going to school, but nah, it was definitely cool. Like when I did go to the city, just seeing everything, the food, just the culture. Like New York City is crazy. Like people think it is. Like the people there are just built different.
So I've never been to New York. So what is like, what area should I be looking for? Maybe like a little treasure, a little gold nugget somewhere that is not known. Like, what do you got for us?
So honestly, for me, I was lucky enough like my family had came down probably like 3, 4 times during the year, so we would often like go together. But I did go the handful of times where I did go by myself. One place that I went to was called Anthony and Sons Panini Shop. They have like they're big on social media, on like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. They have a
Right.
podcast called the Growing Up Italian Podcast, and so I've been watching them for like years. But and I knew that like they had a family owned panini shop, which was like right below like where their studio was, and so I always like wanted to go the past couple of years. And when I ended up committing to St. Thomas Aquinas, which was like right next to it, I was like, okay, first stop, that's where I'm going. And it was really cool. I definitely recommend you go if you're ever in the city. It's in Brooklyn.
Right. What's the name again? Say that again. I gotta write it
Anthony
down.
and Sons Panini Shop.
Anthony and Sons. Cool, 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 cool. Liam, how was so the stats online are absolutely terrible for the RSEQ.
Yeah, well, yeah,
So, like, what did you guys have a season this year? Like, what happened with the collegiate lacrosse league in Quebec?
yeah. So unfortunately, RCQ had folded 2 years ago. So my first year Cégep, we had it, but then last year and this year there was no RCQ, so we had to play in the adult or like the senior league kind of thing that we have in Quebec for field. So we like played teams like the Blainville, like we played Davin, Miller, and all of those guys in that league. So yeah, it was fun. It was a lot different experience than RCQ though.
Yeah, now you're playing against real like men and just different bodies. It's a whole different style of lacrosse too. You
Absolutely.
think that was better caliber than when you guys had a league or opposite?
Yeah, it's honestly some games are more. There's definitely more physical, and you have to be smarter than what we had in the RCQ. So like guys there have been playing for like 10, 15 years, right? Some of them. So when you go up against a pole that's been playing for that long, you can't necessarily just like do a one jab move and then go to the top side. So you kind of have to like get a better understanding, learn a little more, like be smart on your passing, maybe be a little more deceptive to actually get to the goal and score. And same thing with the goalies. So it was definitely cool. It was a good experience. Um, but yeah, it was tough. We'd play like 2 games a day. It was every Saturday, 2 games. Sometimes back to backs and like the heat and all that. So it was like, yeah, it was a lot at some points, but it was fun. More
It's
lacrosse.
terrible.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't remember the time in my life where like I still had to do that. I like to this day could not play 2 games in a row.
The
Like
second game
this
was tough
sucks.
for sure. I'd say it was easier the back to back games because you're already in the
Yeah.
game. it's a free flow, so you're tired by like the third quarter, but at least like you're already into it. But the games where you'd have like a break in between, where you like fully like relax, calm down, cool down, enjoy yourself, break, take your cleats off, got to put it back on and play another game, and it was tough.
Yeah,
For
those are
sure.
wild. Dude, I like last summer I was coaching this like U13 club lacrosse team, and it's like I do not miss those days where we played like 5, 6 games on a Saturday,
Yeah.
and then you got like 3 games Sunday for freaking finals and stuff. And these kids are just like they keep going, and we get to the hotel at night, they're like in the pool running around, and it's like, dude, I play like a quarter and I want to die on the sideline. Like,
For sure.
got to
Looking
stretch
at
for like an hour and a half before games, and it's absolutely absurd, especially with box, like playing on cement and stuff. Like, is there any like turfs where you guys play for Junior C or no?
Yeah, we have Aquasasne and
Mm.
Ganawagna, the Hunters. They have a new turf in, but apart from that, I think that's it. I think those are the two. Yeah, everything else is cement.
Yeah, dude, cement is terrible. It's kind of good to like fall on in a way where like you're not destroying your skin, but
Yeah,
like just the next day is just like knees and hips and ankles, everything's destroyed. I see Ethan just smirking in the corner of the screen
no,
like I hate my life.
cement hurts when the next day, especially like you said, knees and hips. You don't want to do anything. You want to just take an ice bath, which
Yeah,
honestly that's like the best thing to happen. But you're in pain for the next 2 days at least. Like,
absolutely terrible. All right, let's get into the actually really good stuff that I think is going to help a lot of people, kind of the main subject of this podcast. Also, by the way, for everyone that's listening and you guys, Zach Miller actually told me to do this and kind of forced me to do this. He's like, dude, you have to talk to these guys, and I was like, all right, why not? Could be a good idea. Thanks to Millsy
Shout out Zach.
for helping us out here with this thing, but we have to talk about how you guys got recruited, right? Obviously, very different from, Zach and I and the other guys' process where we were able to go to prep school and play like in the OJLL and in the junior box league and kind of had obviously like I don't want to say like an easier path in a way where like there's more people watching, as like you guys probably had to like fight a lot more and kind of work to get film and stuff like that. So I don't know, just kind of give every single one of you kind of a little bit of like how it worked and what you think helped you, and maybe we could get later on into like how people should maybe try to, if that's a goal that they have, how they should do it, but just kind of your process and how that happened for you to get where you are now.
So I guess I could kick it off. So to start, I guess the first time I really knew and like realized that I wanted to to play lacrosse at the next level was after the Canadian Field Lacrosse Championships. After that game, or after that tournament, I should say, I really realized, okay, like playing against Team Ontario, Team BC, like those top guys, I realized like, shit, like maybe I could actually play at that level. And so that's what kind of kick-started like my journey. And like you said, you know, us three, like we didn't go to like a prep school like in Ontario or in the States or anything like that. So it definitely was like a really big grind. Like for me, when it came to film, like I did everything myself. I clipped it, I edited it, like my whole, I have like two highlight tapes. They were both like made 100% by me because like you don't really have anyone around you that specializes in that and that's like there to help you out. Um, and like recruiting, that was definitely very difficult because, like you said, there's not really many eyeballs on you. Like you're playing my first year at Champlain, we played in the RSCQ, and then the 2 years after that, we played in like the Quebec Senior League, which obviously like no coaches are really looking there like at all, right? And
Not at
so
all.
if I wanted to be seen, like I have to do all the work. Like after my long work days, I would just spend hours on the computer, like writing up emails, sending it to like hundreds of coaches. And eventually I was able to kind of to get phone calls, which was kind of like the first step because once you kind of like get to know me as a person and like you could hear my story over like a longer period of time. Like, you can't just jam everything into one email, right? And so after that, after I got a couple of phone calls, I was able to get three offers my first time around, and I ended up making my commitment initially to AIC. And so that's where I thought it was going. That's school in Massachusetts. But there ended up being a coaching change at the school, where a lot of guys were entering the transfer portal, and I knew the program wasn't going to be the same like when I got there. So I re-entered the recruiting pool, and the second time around, funny enough, which I kind of had like credentials of like already being committed somewhere, like coaches that like never even answered and my email like the first time were like reaching back out wanting to like hop on a call and stuff like that, which was interesting just to show like I mean coming out of Quebec like Cégep League, like no coach really will give you the time a day except for like a select few. And so the second time around in my recruitment process, I got a lot more attention and a lot more offers. So like the first time, I only had three official offers, and then the second time around, I would say I probably had around like 15 plus offers, which was nice because now I had like a really um, big pool to choose from, right? Seeing like this school is in the East Coast, it's in the West Coast, this one's in the South in Florida. Um, this academic program. So I was really able to like choose
You
exactly
had schools
what.
in Florida and you picked New York City?
Well, honestly, like for me, for sure, like the schools like in the South, like in Florida, that were like interested. The weather is great, but it was really like a big thing for me to like stay relatively close to like my family. Like that's
Right.
super important to me. Like, I guess some guys it's not really like a deal breaker, but somewhere that was like driving distance like was a deal breaker. I needed to like be close to home and have like my family have access um,
Yeah.
to come see me. And I ended up committing to St. Thomas Aquinas because that was where Coach Ballone, who's my coach, he came from AIC and he landed at Stack, and so I ended up sticking with him because over like the recruitment process, we had built like a really good connection, and he was one of like the select few coaches that actually gave me a chance the first time around. So I felt like staying loyal to that was that's just like in my nature, and so that's where I am, and I'm really happy I made that decision.
How did, before I let the other guys go, how or did your coach leave from AIC before you even got to college? Like that happened in the summer
Yeah,
before
that
freshman
happened in the
year?
summer. So I had committed, I think around like November, somewhere around there, and then right before school was gonna start around like June, that's when everything completely changed. And then it's like
Jeez.
school is literally starting in a couple months, and like I don't know where I'm going. Most coaches have like their rosters filled already, all their
Yeah.
scholarship monies handed out. So it was really like a stressful situation, like a stressful time. But yeah, so once I found out where he ended up, which was Stack, then that was like an easy decision for me because I was kind of holding out, waiting to see where he was gonna land, mixed with the new coaches, like reaching out. Um, so yeah, it definitely I committed while he was there, and then the coaching change happened literally like a month and a half before school was supposed to start.
Yeah, dude, coaching changes are not easy. We had one at Mercier, so after we went to the championship my sophomore year, and then after that, in like the summer of that, our coach left because whatever, there's a lot of stuff that happens during the school year, but he left, and then like they didn't find another coach until like October, so we like started the school year with like captain's practices, like where we didn't really have anyone to lead. Like that was really weird. And it was also annoying being like Mercier's being like a lead D2 program where is like we're supposed to be like a good team, but now we have like no direction.
Yeah.
was definitely tough, and you can still see it. Our coach now, I think he's good. He's, working hard to kind of get his culture in and bring his own guys in, but it definitely takes like a good amount of time to like really for a coach to be able to like make a huge difference. So I don't know how your coach is doing with stack, I guess is the lingo that you used.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I could definitely like relate to you in that sense. Like, obviously, I was a player that came in with the new coach compared to you kind of have the before and the after.
yeah.
But definitely, it does take a while. Like, it's a big adjustment process um, within like the team. There's kind of like the group of guys that we have. Like, our roster last season was um, around like 40 to 45 guys, I would say, at the top of my head. But during the fall, we were like 20. So just injecting like that many guys like in the mid-season definitely like was a big adjustment, and that kind of showed in our season. I would say there was a lot of ups and a lot of downs just because of like that that really big like shock at the beginning with the new coach, new identity. But yeah, it went well overall.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then you also have like you're kind of that first step, so it's like you'll be fine within your 4 years. It's gonna
Yeah.
be pretty good. And then Liam's gonna join you. But yeah, if you
Yeah.
guys, Ethan and Liam, if you guys can kind of hop in on this on how you got Ethan, how you got where you are, and then Liam, kind of your next step here and how you also got seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take. Yeah, sure. So mine is completely different than their process, honestly. So I only started lacrosse when I got to Cégep, so that made it
Oh,
even harder.
jeez.
Yeah, yeah,
Wait, whoa.
yeah.
You should have started with that. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So no, it's an interesting. So I was a hockey player my whole life. I went to high school hockey, and hockey was going to be what my went for the future, no doubt about it. Then unfortunately, my last like Sec 5 year in high school, I just wasn't good enough to make it to the next level. So I kind of was like, okay, I guess I have to hang him up. And I was like, whatever. And then I got to Champlain Lennoxville, because I didn't get into the school that I wanted to in my house because unfortunately my grades weren't the best to get into that. So I had to go to Lennoxville, and I was like, you know what, all good. I'll go there for one semester. Focus, get my grades up, do what I have to do, and I'll come back home, and that'll be the end of it, and keep move on my life. And then Ethan texted me like a week before school, of like that CJEP school, saying we need someone, like we need guys. Would you like to try for lacrosse team? And I had like a little experience with like sixes in high school. We played for like 2 3 weeks kind of thing. And I liked it, but I wasn't in my head. I wasn't good enough to like move on. So when he texted me that, I was like, yeah, sure. So we spent like the whole week kind of training at a field nearby our house for like 3 hours a day, kind of going there just so I can make the team. Made the team, fell in love with it, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do now. So from like my first year seated after that fall semester, I was like, okay, I want to go to the next level. And they were already speaking. Nico and Ethan were already speaking about like NCAA, D2. So they were kind of the ones that I like gravitated towards. I asked them a whole but like way too many questions to like try to like anything and everything to get better. And yeah, then ultimately get to where I was. And then so my recruiting really started, I'd say, last year in like November is when I would. So like my second year semester, my second year CJ. So started like reaching out to coaches, but again like I had no film. It was impossible. It was like my mom or dad, if they're at the games, that they would try to film as much as they could. It's like my poor dad couldn't even watch the games; he was too busy filming like the best like stance, like with the phone the whole time. And yeah, trying to get any clips. But then again, like there was no credibility to our names. Like I would send a clip of like me beating like a 40-year-old. So it was like, like unfortunately, it's not going to get you very much. So it was like, yeah, cool, I could do a split dodge, but like, So anyway, so I really tried to get, like Nico said, get on the phone with them and really tell my story. And like, unfortunately, this is what happens, but I like, want to work and stuff like that. And then slowly but surely, start getting more calls, more teams. But then it always came down to financials, and that's where the big sort of really hit. Just quickly, is my like mic really bad? Because to us, we
It
hear like,
seems like it echoes a little bit, but
okay, because on our end we
I
hear
hear
like,
like a staticky noise.
okay, you do too. I don't know why. Is it like a? I don't know. Maybe we put it. Maybe we'll change to.
There you go. Now,
Oh,
now,
that
now
way.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, every time I mute it, it's good, but then it comes back. Anyways, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
adjust to
fine.
it. Yeah. Where was I?
The financials.
Yeah. Financials is always a big part of where I was going to
Yeah.
go. Coming from Canada already, it's expensive, and then you add the exchange rate. So that was always a big
Yeah.
problem. But what I really would say changed my course is, unlike them, I went to a showcase in the States. So in June of last summer, I decided, I don't have the experience. I can't lean on that. Like, I don't have all that, so I have to show my name somewhere. So I went to a showcase in Pennsylvania last summer, like the D2 National Showcase. So I went there. I did pretty good. I was on the All-Star team of the showcase. So I got my name out like
Hey,
that. And then from
let's
there,
go.
that's when like coaches started really reaching out, and it was started to be like credibility, like, okay, you can, maybe you can play, and not just a kid from Quebec. So then once that happened, then the ball started to roll. Started talking to coaches, and they started being more interested and more interested. And then I finished with two final like actual offers, Stack and another school. And then Stack, obviously having Nico there was so much easier. It makes it a lot easier. He could talk about the program. He never said one thing bad. So that also, my parents love that part. Obviously, had a little safety net with him. And then, I met Coach Spallone, obviously over the phone, but then in person on a visit, and fell in love with what he had going, what he had thoughts, and his whole vision and philosophy. The guys were super nice. Everything was good, and I decided, yeah, this is where I want to be. And it's also like the campus was very similar to what we had in Lennoxville, like a
Nice.
small thing, not too big, but still like Nico said, you're 20 minutes away from New York City kind of thing, but you're far enough away where you're not in New York City. It's like a perfect in between. You're not like in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, everything ended up being everything figured out to like place itself. But yeah, it was definitely a different journey than what most guys have.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in this, man. Like this is so you've been playing lacrosse for total of 2 or 3 years.
I think this would be my third year. Yeah, this would be my third year playing.
I mean that's insane. Dude.
Yeah. But
Like if
honestly,
you
I have to say it's because of Ethan and Nico, the two guys here, that I would not be anywhere near where I am if it weren't for them. They had me under their wing the entire time I was there in Champlain. Whether that be like in our res shooting around, so we had like a little mini lacrosse and that kind of thing. Whether it would be like shooting around, asking questions of literally like, how do I pass properly? Like what
yeah.
hand do I use? All these different things. So that when we go shooting on the field together, asking them, watching them, like every time I was at practice, watching both of them shooting, passing, all that, trying to learn, then doing it on my own. So yeah, it was I wouldn't be where I was if it weren't for those two. But yeah, it's funny and interesting nonetheless.
All right, there's a couple of things we have to highlight out of this. So first of all, if you talk to anyone in Ontario or United States or whatever it is, if like for them starting lacrosse late is like 14 years old.
Yeah, it was a little later.
This guy started was 17 technically.
Yeah, 17 would be the first time.
So first of all, who cares when you start? Just
Yeah.
work hard and you'll get it done. Second of all, I love your whole like you surround yourself with the top dogs that have like great attitudes.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'll end up like being able to improve and do something, right? It's and just for, this is about lacrosse, but really about anything. Like if I don't know, whatever business or like Nico, you do a little bit of like filming stuff from what I've seen and like social media for teams and stuff. Like if you surround yourself by someone that's great at that, you'll definitely learn a few things from them. Right. And I think that's what you can really get from Liam here is like he didn't just say like, whatever, I'll do this for fun. He kind of went all in to be able to have the best experience for what you thought was probably going to be 2 or 3 years for fun and just kind of be good
Honestly,
in that league, and which is going to end up getting you an education and kind of living a dream for a lot of people that's not even like something that a lot of people can think about doing. But dude, that's like I thought I knew about you, and I guess I did not know anything about you. Like that's crazy. And now you play junior C for a team that's won the Meredith, and like that's sick, dude. Like respect. I'm actually like, I will, for the ones that aren't watching this, like, I am lifting my hat for you because that's impressive as hell.
Yeah, if I could just add to what you're saying. So like Liam explained, like he started playing lacrosse like first year Cégep, and I guess he came in my second year, and like my second and third year, I was kind of like had a leadership position in the team, and I was a guy that a lot of the guys were kind of like new to the sport or like didn't have that much experience, so they were kind of coming to me with like questions and stuff. But Liam was a guy that I always said I'll give him every single hour of my day to help him out, answer his questions. After practice, keep shooting because I saw something in him. Like this guy really wants it, and there's not many people like Liam that really wanted it that bad to go to the next level with not having a lot of experience. Like he really had to fight, and if he didn't have like the amount of like grit and persistence that he has, like he wouldn't be where he is.
Yeah, that's wild. All right, Ethan, your turn now. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah. So a lot like Liam, I also played hockey all through high school and all that. And then summertime came around, and it was always lacrosse. So I was always flip flopping between the two sports. And then graduated high school and had to make that decision of which one do I want to continue on. Which that was one of the hardest decisions I had to make because it was both unbelievable love for both those sports. I still love hockey and I miss it dearly. But then I chose lacrosse. I was like, I can see myself making it to the next level in lacrosse more than I can in hockey, considering that we're in Canada, Quebec. Hockey is massive here, so much talent, and it's like the chances are like 1 in a million making it to the next level. And I knew with lacrosse, if I put my head down, I could make it a lot further and go to the NCAA, which was ultimately my dream in both sports. So then I went to Champlain, played the first year. Nico and I were both first years, played 3 years with Nico. First 2 years we had seasons, and the last year we didn't, which was different and something else. But I didn't have the recruiting like these two. I wasn't emailing coaches. I never kind of went that route. I always felt too busy in studying. Once one lacrosse season would end, and I would start right away with juniors, with the Hunters, and going back and forth from Ganawage all the way back to Sherbrooke on a Thursday night, on a Tuesday night. Sometimes getting back at like 1 o'clock in the morning to go to school the next day, and I was like, wow, there's a lot to do here. But yeah, never really reached out to coaches. There's a lot of coaches in the Canadian and the KUFLA that reached out to me, like McGill,
Nice.
Bishops, and all them, Carleton and Ottawa. Those schools did reach out, but I really wanted to make it to the NCAA, and watching Nico go through it and emailing coaches and all that, and I was like, oh, I don't have film. Like there's no film on me. Nobody was really filming our games, and like they said, it was mainly like their mom or dad filming them. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have film to make a highlight tape or anything. And then I was playing with the Hunters, and the St. Michael's coaches, Coach DJ and Coach Smith, came out to a box game, and we were playing against Gloucester. And the next day, I was at work, funny enough, and I got a text, like a paragraph long, from Coach DJ saying that they were interested and wanted to talk more. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this could be something. And from there, just talked with them, countless phone calls with them, and like Nose, it was really, it came down to the financial system, like what was happening with the exchange rate and all that. And when I finished Cégep, I was actually looking to go into Onondaga Community College, taking a community college route and seeing where that could get. And then Coach DJ reached out, and I was like, maybe I don't have to go that route. We'll see where this goes. And talked with them for a month, and then got my official visited the campus, and it was a lot like Bishop's, a lot like Champlain, where it was a small campus, not too big, not too many students. Wasn't gonna feel like just a number in a classroom. That was the other thing, is you go to big schools and you're sharing a class with
Yeah.
130 students, and you're like, I don't want to be just a number in a classroom. Like, my whole thing was getting to know my professor, and not being afraid to go ask them questions. And also the coaching, it's a different coaching staff. There are only two, with one occasionally coming to help if he can. And it's really just Coach Smith and Coach DJ. And I saw how much they loved the team, and how much love they had for each and every one of the guys on the team. And from there, I was like, yeah, this is kind of where I want to go. Like, this is, we got to talking, and financially it worked out. And then made my commitment in November of, actually, Nico and I committed pretty much maybe a week apart. So we both committed kind of at the same time, which was really cool. And we were both really excited for that next step.
Well, it really shows you though, like you really never know like who's looking. Like you always gotta be straight, do your thing, like work hard, even if it's like it could be the little details of just you like running to the bench instead of like kind of like being sloppy, jogging. Like it's little things like that. You have no idea that coach is there. Maybe you play like I mean I'm just throwing that. It could have been like your worst game ever, but the way you like portray yourself and kind of act on the floor, even if you suck, the coaches there's got to be something they like, and it's like like Liam says, he went to a showcase. Like those are the places where you're gonna have coaches, but it's not just when you play the game. Like it's everything outside to how you're gonna treat your parents when they come see you after the game, to how whatever if there's fans, junior B hunters, I'm sure you guys have a few fans, Kodiaks, there's a bunch of kids that show up, right? How you treat those people, how you treat the refs too. Like there's so much that comes into it that yes, like, being lucky and like having good opportunities and coaches and being good at the sport, yes, is a part of it, but just being like as a person and a human being is almost as equal, and a student is almost as equal as doing all of that other stuff. Like I know I talk a lot with our coaches at Merciers, and it's like they ask for guys that have like above a 3.0 GPA. And it's not really because of school. They're like, dude, I could not care less if he like does his work. It's more because those people usually are the people that are, if you put your work in at school, it shows that coach won't have any trouble with you.
Yeah.
That's all they really care about. You don't have to be perfect at school and have a 4.0. Who cares? Like you can have lower grades and still be a really good person, but it's just showing them that hey, like I'm not gonna go screw around during the weekend and get into the hospital and get into fights and ruin the team and the program's reputation and kind of the image. But there's always an eye, and you never know when, maybe you could have talked to that St. Michael's coach, whatever, it wouldn't end up happening because of whatever reason. And then he would have talked to another coach. And it's like, well, if you treated that guy like whoever, like, I don't really care, it doesn't matter, that would have just end up like actually getting you a bad reputation with someone else that you have no idea where he's actually coming from. Like, so it's like that stuff is wild to me how that works. And it's just so hard because you're still like young. Like you're not. I say that right now. I'm 22. I just graduated from college. But like that stuff happens when you're 16, 17, 18 years old. You're literally at the dumbest part of your life. Like you literally cannot be stupider, and like you're at a college where Champlain where you're like with a bunch of your teammates,
Yeah.
which makes you stupider than stupider, and it's like you got to be just smart enough and kind of above whatever expects from you to be able to do that stuff. But no, you guys have like amazing paths, dude. Like this, I don't even know how to react to these because I don't know if I could have done that with like that amount of work. Whereas like myself was more like lacrosse work, but you guys had to like work outside and off the field to get this done, which shows you that it can get done. And like there's some kids that like text me through, the page and everything about and parents like, how do I get my kids to be seen and stuff? Well, this is how. All these three different paths, like all of those end up getting you somewhere. There's no perfect scenario and and like you guys said, we're from Quebec. We don't have showcases every weekend. We don't have club teams that travel everywhere. Like, so yeah, it's unorthodox. Yes, it's, you know, not as cool or like fancy as the top recruit in the United States that gets, I don't know, 50 phone calls on September 1st when the date comes. But I mean, sorry for my swearing, but fuck, this is where it actually gets done.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Like all three of us had to do like a lot of work outside of like school and just like actual lacrosse work, because obviously like we didn't have the platform like Everest Academy where it's like you're playing against those those top American high schools where it's like you got eyeballs on you and you have coaching staffs with like a bunch of connections at like NCAA programs. Like for us, it wasn't really the same, and just want to show kids like from Quebec that we're not gonna have the easiest path like at the start. Like we're already starting with more difficulties than the average lacrosse player. But like if you persist and you put in work, like you will be able to make it to the next level, and like you can't expect to just sit back, relax, and have phone calls flying through your phone. Like that's not how it works, and that's the same thing in life for like a job. You know, if you don't go to I don't know like um, networking events or things of that nature, where like you don't reach out to people, like not everyone's gonna come and just give you a silver spoon and say here take this. Like you have to put in the work, and yeah.
Yeah, just to add, like for me as well, like when I was looking at, because it started to get, like I started feeling like, oh, maybe it won't work, because both, like they said, they both committed in November, right? And when November came around for me, I was still like not even close to having like an offer. Like it was still like just trying to talk to teams, and I think I finally committed in February. I want to say maybe yeah, February, no, March even. Yeah, because it was I went to go to the Georgian court game, and that was in March, right, Nico?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like mid to late March kind of thing, and it was like there was times during that time where I was like, oh, maybe this isn't gonna work. Maybe this is whatever. It's not my fault. It is what it is, and like feel sorry for myself. But then it was always like, well, if I do that, then I let it win. And it's like I won't go anywhere. So I'll be all right. Got to really make sure I stay focused. It won't come, but I always told myself, like Ethan and I would talk during the school year, and even Nico, and I'd tell them like, I'm still doing my trainings. Like I'm still working out on my own. I'm still going to the gym. I'm still going to the field. I'm still like, doing that run that I don't want to do it, because if that opportunity does come, I want to be ready for it. But if I stop doing it because the dream is over, but then suddenly like staff comes back in the picture and it's, oh crap, now I have to get myself going again. I don't want to fall behind because already I'm not good the opportunity. So just for anyone watching, like you gotta make sure that for one you put the work in, but then you keep putting it in even if not. Like I've watched a bunch of like I don't know, motivation speeches, but the ones that stuck me the most were the athletes that said they were like walk-ons at say college football and became stars in the NFL, or were undrafted guys stars in the NFL. Like those guys were really the ones that I looked towards, and we're like, okay, if they can do it, we can do it. And it's just constantly that back and forth battle with yourself, but always making sure that like, no, we're gonna keep doing it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. At least I said I tried. That's what I always just fall back on. So I think for anyone, it's definitely important to remember that.
Like you said, you never know who's watching at any point in your life. Like Nico and I are really like we're older freshmen. Like we're 20 and 21 in our freshman years at NCAA colleges, and our teammates are 17, 18 in our class, and it's like just because you're you think you're old, like you're getting older, and it's like, oh, none of these opportunities are coming. Like you never know. You never know who's watching. You never know who might be there. Who like. So if you keep your head down and keep focused on what you want, it's something could happen. Like you never know. You never know who's there. And it's just one of those things where if it's a dream, you just gotta keep going for it. It's
Yeah,
all
exactly
it
that.
is.
I wanna go back on something you said, Ethan, about um, you're jumping from field like straight in the box and stuff like that, which is something like Americans don't do that you've probably noticed. Like they don't, as soon as you get to college, like the summers, you don't really do shit, if I'm being honest. Like they just sit there, drink beer, and like they play like on Sundays on like some summer league or whatever. Like, how do you guys, and like, especially you, Nico, like seeing you go to the Meredith and playing, I don't know, what at 40 games or whatever it was that summer, like how do you guys deal with having no off season, which is something Canadians have to deal with, of field to field to box, injuries, stuff like that? Like, have you found a recipe, a routine, something that kind of gets your body and like nutrition right for to be able to perform all year long realistically, which no other athletes and almost no other sport does.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Um, like you said, the American guys, like right after school, it's like summer break. But for us, it's like it's just getting started because like the box season is so like taxing on your body. Like you said, going to the Meredith Cup where it's like you're playing until the end of August. Like it really is like a physical and mental battle. But honestly, the way I deal with it and the way that I dealt with it is just like appreciating like the little things in life, and not to be too like philosophical or whatever. But like when you're working like all day long, manual labor, and then you go home and an hour later you gotta go to box practice, or you have two games this weekend. It's like you really don't have that much time, and a lot of people are relaxing while you're putting in all this work, and it could be easy to like be like envious in a way and be like, man, this is really hard. But honestly, like it does shape you better, like as a person and as an athlete, and going to the next level. Like Jay, I'm sure you've seen, and Ethan has seen, like having that box experience and like having that grit of like you're playing on that cement floor, like you're getting beat up every single game, every single practice. Like it really is an advantage, I find, and that's what I've seen like so far. So I don't know how Ethan feels.
Yeah, it's
Ethan's dying for some.
yeah.
What is going on?
Sorry about that. That was just random coughs coming along. No, like you said, it's we don't get a break. It's one of those things where I think the last 3 seasons, like 3 years, um, I was literally playing box until school started. Like 2 years ago, I played for 4 different box teams. I went from
Jesus.
yeah, I went from it was like that time where South Shore still had a junior C team before it went to the Hunters junior C team, and I was playing for them, and we were affiliated with Gunawaga, so I was playing with both Gunawaga Junior B and South Shore Junior C. Both of those teams didn't make it to playoffs. Finished our season with the Junior C team, and I believe I got traded from like that day from Junior C Centurions to Junior C Kodiaks to play with them in the playoffs. So played with them in the playoffs. Got knocked out in the playoffs in the semis, and then from there got called up to Senior B to play with the Senior B Mohawks, and played until Sunday in August, and then the next day I had to move out to Sherbrooke to go to school. I was like 4 teams in a span of like 4 or 5 months, and I was like, oh my gosh, like what do I do? And then last season played with the Hunters. We made it all the way to the finals in Elora versus Elora. Same thing. Week later, I'm moving to Vermont to go to to St. Michael's, and I was like,
I barely had any time to enjoy my summer. So like you have to take it into account. Like if you have an off day, don't make your off day all about lacrosse. Like go do other things that you enjoy. Like I enjoy fishing, I enjoy golfing. So like whenever I could do that, I was like, I'm taking this day to go out on the lake and just spend 8 hours fishing, or taking this day to go out and play an 18 hole like round of golf. Like it's you got to enjoy the other things other than lacrosse on your off days, and just to give your body a break from the cement floors, from the turf burns and all that stuff. Like focusing on the other things that you love in life is as important as focusing on lacrosse. So you just gotta try and balance that on your during your season.
Yeah, I actually like that a lot, which is something I like personally had like didn't do enough during my college year. Like I was always like lacrosse, 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 lacrosse. And it is very taxing. And I know like my junior year kind of struggled a little bit, like mentally in a way, not like mentally like issues, but just in a way of like finding motivation to like get up and show up to lacrosse. And it's like, well, so that's what I like your point of like find something else and like when you have an off day, just go do it. Like it doesn't matter. Like and then one thing that I personally found though is and that a lot of guys naturally you're gonna like try not to well you're gonna not want to work out because you're like I play so much but you still have to you kind of have to find that middle of like a workout that's not gonna kill you and like make you sore and everything but you're still moving you're keeping your joints healthy your ligaments healthy like knees and ankles is what you're gonna destroy the most in field or box like doesn't really matter like and like you'll sprain your ankles, like the number of ACL tears that you hear about, stuff like that. Like you got to keep those things healthy because as soon as you destroy one of them, like you're done for a while. And I like at least I know myself, like I sprained both my ankles in college, and like I still have them. Like I'm not 100% on my ankles. So it's like those things, like you're not 13 anymore, where you get hurt and the next day it's like oh I don't even feel it anymore but working out was huge and just kind of staying healthy even though it feels like you shouldn't because you're like I play every 2 days and like Ethan it's like I play on 4 different teams like can I get a break but like 30-40 minutes like nothing crazy to kind of get a quick workout in something um because like at least I know our especially our my sophomore year we went to the championship in D2 and I don't know how it worked out, but with our coaches and like our strength and conditioning coaches at school, we couldn't find like a time to have team lifts. So it was mostly like, and this doesn't really happen ever. I don't know why we did that year, but our coach was like, trusted us to like go work out like on our own time, which obviously on a team of 50, 60 guys, like half the team's not going like to work out. Like they're going to drink beer and do whatever. Um, And then we played really well. We had a really good team, but we got to the championship, and you could see that difference between like our bodies aren't healthy, like we didn't take care of them. We got to the championship, like Philadelphia in the Eagle Stadium, sun is like killing us. It's probably like 85, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I don't know, like 30, 35 Celsius. I have no idea, but it's like there's no time to like take a break or anything, and we got pumped, dude. Like that is the worst like loss I've ever taken, and it was on the biggest stage I've ever played in my life. But I mean, the score was like 20-5 or something, which was absurd. And it's like in the final, but you could see like we played Lenore Ryan from North Carolina or South Carolina, I think. And it's like you could see that they were strong, like they could run for days, and so that was absurd.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, like you said, when you're like so tired and like you're working or like you're practicing and playing almost every single day, it's definitely kind of counterintuitive to like let me go work out because you think you need to rest. But like you said, I think it's so important to just get that 30 minutes in. to kind of keep your body healthy, and it's just kind of like adding oil to your engine, Ethan's dying there.
It's super important. I actually think it kind of brings you energy, to be honest. Like it, especially in your day, like middle of the day or at night and stuff. I don't know. I personally think it's great. Some people probably hate it, but
And it's good mentally,
um,
I feel like.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Um, Liam, I want to go back to when you talked about showcases. Um, something that I've had a few questions about from people in Quebec, like how. I guess my first question would be, how did you pick what showcase to go to?
Uh, Honestly, I didn't know much about it. Like everyone else, I bet I kind of did research, but I literally wrote like showcases. But everything kept kind of D1, so I knew I wasn't good enough to make D1. As much as that was a goal, there wasn't a point of me going in front of like a Maryland John Tillman kind of thing, So I had to like, okay, so we're gonna go to D2, and this showcase was like just for D2. Okay, cool, that's a great start, and it was in Pennsylvania, so it wasn't insanely far. Like I think it was, I don't remember. I want to say like 6, 7 hours from my
Where
house.
was it exactly, you know?
I was in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, so like Philly, just outside of Philly.
Okay, cool.
So it was like 6, 7 hours, I think. So I did it with my dad, but it was more just I tried to find a showcase exactly that. That was D2, and I looked at the schools that were attending, and I tried to match them up with what I want to go. Because I want to go into exercise science. It was my program. So I kind of before when I started my recruiting trip, or like my recruiting process, sorry, I looked up all the schools that had exercise science, and I kind of like favorited them. So those are the only schools that I could realistically talk to, unfortunately, because school is a big part of it. So I had to break down
Yeah.
to that. That's the first one. So I looked at it, and that showcase had a lot of schools. I'd say from my list that had my program and that I was interested in. So I kind of just boiled it down to it was easy to get to. It was a D2 showcase. It had schools, and it was just a showcase that like I could at least get film. Because that was the biggest thing for me because we didn't have film here. So I really needed to get somewhere where I can get film, and my dad was going to go with me, and he was filming the entire thing, so that I had film. So whatever happened, happened. Whether I did good or bad, I'd have something to show for it. And then obviously, luckily, I did good out of it too. So I then got the all-star thing from there. I could post that, and that builds my name and all that. But yeah, I'd say definitely the showcase of picking it was kind of like just a little bit of luck because I kind of just looked it up and I thought, oh, this is a showcase. That's cool. This is a Division 2. But then yeah, that's pretty much how it got to that.
Right. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna have to clip this part because I loved how you described it, and that's gonna go on Instagram right away. Because the fact of like looking up the programs, knowing what schools are there, finding the couple of schools, because not every school has every program, so finding those couple of schools that are open to you, that like if they are interested, well, you will like have an interest in them too. Because you don't want to start wasting your time on a school that just doesn't have your program. Like it's just money and time and all of that that's wasted. But so knowing those things, and then the easiest step of just looking up showcases and then finding
Yeah,
the one that would fit best with you, like that's that's crazy how it's so easy and simple to do. Like it's just 5, 6 steps that you can do by yourself, like on your phone in your room, and like you can get that done. And then obviously it comes to like playing, and you performed well and all of that, but just those couple of things is massive. I remember when I was at Everest, like the coaches always told us is like, yes, like the highlight tape and all of that like is very important, but like look up the schools and make a list
mm-hmm.
of, we had lists of like 5D1, 5D2, 5D3 teams that we were like, the school fits, the team looks good, like I'm interested, I like the style they play, like so it's like if those schools reach out, well, obviously those are going, top of the list. And you're not just like randomly, there's like, I don't know, 370 schools or something, like men's lacrosse program in the United States of like all level. And it's like you can't just like hope that one of them is going to do, like you got to have some type of structure um for yourself, just for like your time and mental health too in that process. Like it's hard, dude. Like
Hmm.
you were saying, Liam, that it's like after a few months, you're like, maybe I'm not made for this. Like this might not happen. Like I kind of went through that where I was talking to colleges that like three main universities I was talking to got offers, and like all three of those like financially wasn't really like good enough for like myself and my family. And like I kind of got into that mood like, well, maybe I'll have to stay and either go Kufla or like whatever, find another goal. And then suddenly I was lucky enough for Merciers to show up and help me out a lot more. But it's like the recruiting process looks great when you watch those Mitchell Pelkey videos of like the
So
top recruit. Oh yeah, he can pick from literally, yeah, hit the frog for Nico. You can pick out of the like 75 D1 schools because everyone's gonna take you, but if you're not those guys, like it's not that pretty to be honest.
no, it's really not. It's tough. Day in and day out is tough. The like you said is to piggyback on it was take accountability. So that's why I did. I'd spend like a couple hours honestly going through all the schools because, like you said, there's so many schools. So each of them I'd go through and I'd find, okay, so this is a list. Like I kind of had it on my laptop. I had one web, like one tab would be open for all the schools in D2. And the other tab would be all their like websites I'd go on to one by one. And I look through, okay, this one has exercise science, perfect. I'd highlight it on my like spreadsheet or whatever I had. And then, okay, this one doesn't, so cross out. And then I went through all of them. And I went, okay, this is my favorites. And then I would go, and then these are the coaches I could speak. And then I would send a bunch of emails to them. And again, it was just tough because it's like, I can't send, like, I send you an email, I send you a highlight tape. But it's like, as a coach, because I can't even blame them. As a coach, if I get a highlight tape for myself from when I started, I'm not going to take you. Like, I had
Yeah.
500 emails to take. I open yours in 3 seconds in. This is like a, no offense, but it's like a garage league kind of thing. So it's like, I don't know. This guy's from like, a MIA school or something like that in the States. Like, okay, I'll open this guy and I'll open better first. So it's like really hard to get your foot in the door. But then, yeah, it's just day in, day out. Make sure you're doing, I always said to myself, make sure you're doing the things that you can do. So like your highlight tape, like I said, do the research. That's stuff that I can control and I can do. So then I'll put my effort in there. Unfortunately, we'll see what the coaches have and we'll see what goes down the line. But if I don't do everything I can do, then how can I really be complaining, kind of thing? So it's the main part.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys all do your own highlight tapes? Did you guys edit those yourself, or did you get someone to do that?
No, I had, so I was working on with an app of the NCSA. That's how I was getting recruiting. That's how I was using. So I paid for like their membership for like kind of like access to coaching, like recruiting coaches, and they did my highlight tape. So I sent them all my clips, kind of thing. I told them this is the order I want them in, and they clipped it up and then gave it to me, and I could post.
Yeah, I did my highlight tape myself. Like most of my videos was from like 2 or 3 box games out of the whole season that we're lucky enough like the away team filmed, or like my mom or dad like filming it on their phone. So I had like access to all that footage, like screen recording it, and then just kind of picking the song, clipping it up, doing all that. And like you mentioned earlier, Jay, I do have like some experience with like photography and videography, so it wasn't easy, but it was a good like a project that I wanted to take on and kind of just personalize it for like exactly what I wanted. And yeah, so I ended up doing it myself.
It was a good one too. I'll give it to him. It was good. I can't do any of that. I can barely cut any video, so there's no way I was doing that. But it was a good video. We watched it. Both of them.
And I still to this day don't have a highlight tape, which
It's wild.
I should have,
That's true, man.
but I just never got around to it.
That's
But it all came
crazy.
back to clips though. Like we didn't have any like our RACQ games. They just weren't filmed.
Yeah.
We have a couple that were filmed, and that was my first year. So their second years, that's when you're like really starting your recruiting thing. And after that, for their last year, they had the like the men's league. Yeah. So it's like obviously that's not filmed. So if your parents or someone else you know isn't filming, you're not getting any clips. So you can go score 7 goals in a game, but if you're not getting anything out of it, you can't get a highlight tape out of it.
Uh-huh. And it comes to parents, like
Yeah.
that wouldn't be possible if, like, yes, obviously, they take care of you, they feed you, all of that, but like the fact, like, your dad is filming and he can't pay attention to the game, he's not watching, but he's filming because he knows you need it later. Like that stuff is the little details, like that. Like, luckily we're all fortunate enough that we had families that were like super supportive for that, and allowed us to make those things happen. But like, if you don't have a dad that's sitting there with his camera or an iPhone, like you say, you can be the best player in the world, but you're not going anywhere.
Exactly. It was my dad and my girlfriend too. I think came to a couple of my games and I asked her to film, and like for her, I think it was like raining one day and she was filming. Like yeah, like there's definitely more people that I wouldn't be where I am without them for sure. My mom, my dad, my brothers, and girlfriend for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Um, I do want to mention, you remind me with that NCSA, two like tools websites that are very useful. That one, the NCSA that you can use. There's also it's called now the IMCLA, which is owned by Sports Recruit, which is owned by now IMG Academy. So
Mm.
I don't know how IMG just bought it, so I don't know how that's gonna work, if they're gonna like increase the prices like crazy or whatever. But I know Sports Recruit, like like a lot of coaches use to look at profiles. We used it when we were at Everest. You can basically, like, you get through all your highlight tapes in there. You can like favorite colleges. You can email them through the app. It's not really great to email them through that. It's better to just actually find the coaches and email them. But um, you can have like your accolades, little summary, like presentation of yourself, stuff like that. So two tools. Unfortunately, you do have to pay for either of those. Um, but a decent investment that you really only pay for maybe 2 years, depending on how long your recruiting process lasts. And after that, like, you don't need it anymore. So you like, I don't know how much NCSA was, but I don't think it's that crazy of a payment either.
It's a sliding scale. It depends on how much you want to pay. There's like different
Right.
members, stuff like that. Like the basic membership. Nico, do you have to pay if you just go like as a guest and no
So
pay? I don't remember.
there's like a free version.
Yeah, I was
Like
just saying, I
you're
think so.
limited to like I don't know. I don't remember exactly. But I think the free version, like you could receive messages, but like you can't directly send messages to coaches, and it's super limited.
Right.
And then there's like the bronze, silver, whatever, gold and platinum like packages. That's like the more you pay for, the more perks that you receive. But like for any kid out there that's trying to like get recruited, I definitely really suggest, like for me and Liam, we both use like NCSA. And the way I look at it, and I was telling him at first, is like, you're paying for this now, but this could potentially save you thousands of dollars in the future. So
Tens
it's
of
like
thousands.
that. I guess that's kind of how I like
Yeah.
okayed the purchase. But it's like I'm paying for this membership that like I don't really have the money for. Like I don't want to pay for right now, but this could potentially save me thousands for the scholarship that I'm hoping to receive from a school. So I definitely recommend it for like kids that are starting off like in the recruitment process. Like hop on one of those apps early, and it should help you out.
Yeah, just piggyback on Nico. Yeah, start early, honestly. Like I thought when I started, I thought I was early. And then I had like meetings with people that like go through this all and like, no, you're late. Like these guys start their freshman year in like US, so whenever they're like what, 20 or not 20, but like 16, something like 15, 14 kind of thing,
Yeah.
starting to look at things. Like I started, like I said, second year of Cégep, and I was like, oh, I have a year before I go. Like this is perfect. I have so much time. But like you start earlier, the better for you, and then you start talking to college coaches, and then you can start making your lists, get all that going. But yeah, NCSA was definitely a big part because everything is centralized onto one app. You don't have to look on like Google and look for the coach's email and try to find his phone number. Start like everything's there for you. You can message them through the app, like I did. I would send my first ones through the app. After that, get their phone number or stuff like that, or so. But it's a really good tool to see all the schools for one, get all their information right away, and then build from there.
Yeah. It's a bunch of stuff out there, man. That's
Mhm.
like, you can tell people what to do, but this open your phone and just look it up. Like, you'll find something. Um, we'll transition a little bit to kind of, I talked about it at the beginning, and I think Nico touched on it too when he described his experience. But how was it to go from Canada to the US, with like cultures, people, all that kind of stuff? How was it for you guys? Obviously, Liam, unfortunately, sorry you can't talk about it yet, but
Yeah.
we can do another podcast next year and we'll get your opinion on it. But
Um, Going from Canada to the U.S. was for me. I was like, oh, I'm only an hour and a half away from home. I was kind of looking at
true.
it that way. I was like, it's not going to be a major difference. But then when I got there, it was a lot bigger of a difference than I thought. Like as stupid as it sounds, like I didn't know what a GPA was. Like I didn't know
Yeah.
how that worked or what went into that. And so like I remember I had like an hour long sit down with Coach DJ when I got there. I was like, what is a GPA? Like what goes into this? How does this work? Like and he's like don't worry about all that. He's like if just maintain like good grades and don't worry about that because that's just what it is. And I was like, oh okay. But then like moving away from home, going to a different city, like a different country, was just like I said. It took me like 5 weeks to figure out what worked for me, who was the group I was gonna click with the most, and luckily, the freshman class that we had was 14, 15 guys, and we all got along really well together, and we were all there for one another because when you go, you're not gonna be the only one. Like that's what people have to understand. Like you're not the only one who's moving away from home. Yeah, they're staying in the same country that they are, but some of them are from Mass, some of them from New York. So, like we had a guy from California on our team. Like yeah, like it's you're not the only one who's moving away from home. There's guys 5 hours away, 6 hours away, day long trip away, like 3 day long trip away. Like you're not the only one. So everybody's kind of going through it, and you just got to stick together as a group. Like your highs are going to be high, your lows are going to be low. But as long as you find your click when you get there, you find the group of guys that are all in the same boat. It's gonna turn around. Like 5 weeks in, 6 weeks in, I was like, hey, this is awesome. Like these guys are awesome. They're all here for me. The upperclassmen were all there for me. Like it because it was such a small school and such a small community. It's like a 2 minute walk to your senior's house. So it was like you just whenever you had questions or anything, there was always an open door that you could just walk in and have conversation with them. So that really did help. And then from there, it was just took off.
Did you have like a moment or like a discussion with someone that you were like kind of made you realize like, wow, we are so close, but like so different still in a way? Like, was there a moment where you're like, geez,
Um, yes and no. I like it was like I said, they're all 17, 18, and I'm 21.
we lost Nico.
There you go. Oh yeah. They're all like 17, 18, and I'm 20, 21. Like
Yeah.
there's an age gap where like maturity wise, like you said, 16, 17, you're doing stupid stuff, and you're just being stupid and having a great time. Whereas for me, it was like I kind of like I did the stuff and I had my fun, and then I got there and I was like, we can still have fun, but now it's more of a lock in time, like
Yeah.
Um, but just kind of sitting. I know for like 2 weeks straight when we got there, all of our freshman class, 15 of us crammed into our one dorm. And anybody who's been to college and lived in a dorm, those rooms are not big. Those are small rooms, and we're 15, 16 guys just all in that one room, just talking about where we've been, talking about how we got to St. Mike's, and it just kind of made you realize you guys are all in the same boat. So of course, realizing that, you're like, okay, we can all lean on each other, and it was like that moment of realization where like you're not alone, not alone, and all these guys are here for you and going through the same thing as you, even though there's that age difference, which
Yeah.
helped me understand them more, and it helped them because they would come to me and be like, "What do I do in certain situations?" And
You're gonna become the dad of the
it
class,
was
like.
yeah, it was actually really funny because I 6 weeks in, 7 weeks in, I got the nickname Unk of the freshman class because of my age, and they're all like, "Okay, we got to go see him because he knows he's been here." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no, been there, done that. That was kind of
Yeah.
stupid on you, but it's a part of life. You go through it." And but no, it was a lot of fun because then it's a teaching and learning experience for all of us, and
Yeah.
we kind of get through it.
Yeah. Dude, I'll always remember there's two times where I was like, this is a different place. The first time we're like, it was like 2 weeks in or something. I'm like walking back from the cafeteria with one of our other freshmen. He's from Wisconsin. Um, he's like this massive, like 6'4", like
Mm.
he's an idiot, but like he's a good time. And we're walking back from the cafeteria, and this guy looks me like right in the eyes. He's dead ass, and he's like, "So like, how does it feel to like have freedom?" And I was like, bro, what are you telling me right now?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, like you're now like free, like you're in the States, and I was like, dude,
It worked.
we're probably more free than you guys are. Like I don't. And he's like, no, no, but like it's different here. And I was like,
It's
sure, yeah, whatever you say. But
It's
dude, that was like I was just like looking at him like you have to be kidding me, dude. Like there's no way. But again, like that's Wisconsin. That's not, there's certain states that like I'm sure if you talk to New York, they know a lot more about us than Wisconsin's a little more like Midwest kind of. They don't really farmers a lot more than city people. And then the second time was later my freshman year. And before I start the story, like Mercyhurst is nowhere from like a dangerous place. Like Erie is a very safe city. Obviously there's a couple areas that are, a little ghetto-ish, but like nothing crazy. And I'm in my dorm, like just whatever, doing whatever, probably gaming or something. And we all get an email. There's a couple of us, like you say, Ethan, like you all end up kind of in the same dorm, just hanging out. We all get an email at the same time from the school, and like one guy pops his phone out. He's kind of the only one that like is looking at his email. He reads it, and the email says like in like big capital letters like stay on campus. And then there's like dash like shooting in whatever area.
God.
And
that's
he's like he tells us that, and like everyone in the room's like, "Oh, like sure, like that happens
Yeah.
all the time." Like, and I'm there like,
What?
are we not gonna like freak out? Like, what the hell why are we so calm about this right now?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, like my parents are calling me because like all the parents
Yeah.
got the email. They were like, dude, like, you okay? Like, you guys safe? And I'm like, yeah, everyone just kind of sat there doing nothing. Like, I don't really know how to deal with this right now. Like,
The usual.
yeah. I honestly almost the exact same thing happened because we're 5 to 10 minutes away from downtown Burlington,
yeah,
and like 5 minutes away from UVM. Honestly, like we're really close. So when we can, we go watch D1 games. And early on, like 3 or 4 weeks into my first year, that exact same thing happened. There was a shooting in downtown Burlington, and everybody was like, "All right, so we just won't go downtown, in Burlington for a little bit." And I'm like, "This is normal. Like, what do you mean? Like, how are you guys not like questioning what's happening?" And I'm just like, "There's no way this is normal." But for them, it was, and I was like, "That can't be right.
yeah,
There's got to be a difference here."
I remember my
dude,
mom.
that's yeah.
My mom texted me for that, asking, "Is Ethan okay?" And I was like,
I was
I can text him, but I don't know. You sure?
like, nowhere near it, but
Yeah.
they're all like, "Yeah, just be safe. Don't go too far off campus." I'm like, "There's no way this is normal. Like this is."
Yeah, it's wild.
Right.
It's
But
crazy stuff. That dude, the one time, I don't know, Ethan, you hunt at all? Like you're a fishing guy, but you hunt at all,
I'm
or
more of the fishing go on the lake.
okay, right. So I've never hunted. I've shot like I don't even know what gun like once in my life because I wanted to try like with an uncle or some like great uncle or something that we don't see too often. That's like the max I've had with like dealing with guns and stuff like that. Like, and I like don't mind them, but I've never been like around them. And kind of non-related to school, but I got my met my girlfriend at school, and so one time we go back to her place. She has two like a twins, brother and sister. They're both twins. She's a little older, and the brother has like a hockey game. Um, she lives a little outside Rochester. He has a hockey game like in the city or something. And her dad's an ex-Marine. And so we're sitting at the dining table, like eating, whatever. Like they're very nice people. Like they're welcome me like very nicely. The brother and sisters are awesome. And so whatever, we're kind of finishing eating. The dad went upstairs to like get ready to go to the hockey game, go watch his son, and comes back down. And to be honest, I don't even know if his dad knows how I reacted. I don't know if my girlfriend told him, but he comes back down with like a Glock in like a the
Oh,
holster and like puts it on the table and
that's a,
like the thing is like pointing like away from him obviously, and I'm away from him, so in my head I'm like, why is this thing pointing at me right now? But like, and like he puts it there, and everyone just like keeps talking. Like it's just conversation, talking about whatever happened. And I'm like, dude, I swear to God, my girlfriend saw it. I'm like sitting there, and like he's like on like that side, kind of head of the table. And I was kind of like just laughing with the family, and I like saw it, and I went,
What the hell?
just
Yeah.
like stared like this for like 5 minutes. And my girlfriend was like, you okay? I was like, there's a Glock on the dining table. Like, what are we doing here?
was it the first
And
time you
it's
met?
just they're all like, yeah, I mean, it's he just brings his gun when we go downtown Roch because you never know. And I was like, what do you mean you never know? I'm from like North Shore, like way outside of Montreal. Like I've never had to like when I go downtown Terrebonne, it's like
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
a
There's
fuck
not.
it's a
Yeah.
movie theater. Like there's nothing like bad. And I was just like, oh, sweet.
Yeah,
I guess this is how it's done.
different.
It's,
Different. But at least you feel pretty safe with him, though. I would say the next Marine, I would
Oh,
feel pretty good with
I
him.
feel
yeah,
pretty
dude,
good.
he's
That's the
I
he's
guy.
an
mean,
animal. He's like I don't know, he's telling me stories of like
stories.
he would like bench an absurd amount like when he was like 16 and I still to this day cannot bench that, and this guy was 16. Like he's done some wild stuff, but nah, dude, that culture shock, it happens fast, but then like once you kind of learn it, like it's really not that bad to be honest. Like and like you'll see it, Liam, next year. Like at first it's a little odd and stuff, and you'll probably get a couple like stupid questions and people not knowing anything about Canada because some of them are, just like look down in United States forever. But it's not too bad. The way I describe it to people, it's like it's kind of the same culture in a way because we're so close, but like with just a couple different like again like the right to bear arms. Schools I believe are like very similar in the way they're like education and stuff, like in the way you're taught things. um Religion, same thing. I mean, I'm not a big religion guy, but from what like my friends have told me and like how the religion is down there, like it's very similar and stuff. But it is definitely interesting to be like there are a few things that I don't know if
I completely
I
agree.
really like, but it's
The Glock
also
and
just leaving home kind of makes it weird at the same time because it's not like you go back home at the end of the day, like something happened, then you go home and you're like, Mom, Dad, like, how do I deal with this? It's like, well, now you're coming back to your other roommate that he probably thinks you're complaining or, saying something for no reason. He's like, dude, this is like the most common thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Ethan, was that the first time you left home?
Yes and no. Like I left home for Champlain,
Yeah,
Lennoxville,
right. Yeah,
like an hour away, but this was leaving home to like go into a different country and just completely different
yeah.
area. So
You
that was
think that that made your transition a lot smoother in a way where you're like you were kind of away from home a little bit, but not that far, and then you got to like kind of leave home a little further and be on your own?
yeah, that it definitely did help, but then getting there and completely different um country was just one of those things where like, okay, I'm crossing a border to go to school. Like that was
Yeah,
like a little thing that made it a little weird. And then getting to school and it was like honestly I had moments of being really overwhelmed at
yeah,
times because of like new school, like new campus, learning the campus, new teachers, like and like you couldn't just like you said go home and see your parents and be like, what is going on? So that was like definitely one of those things where it was a lot of phone calls back home for sure.
yeah.
But
We had a couple.
we had a couple,
We had a
yeah.
couple. Yeah, the beginning.
And then once the ball started to get rolling, I was like, okay, I'm more comfortable now. And then it just all worked out.
But also to
Yeah.
add for you though, we went from like Champlain, we had a lacrosse program, but it was 2 practices a week,
Yeah,
game Saturday kind of thing. So and it
Yeah.
was only practices, right? Like 2 hours or hour and a
2 hour
half kind of thing. Like it's
practices.
nothing, no working out. That's all for you. So for like guys like Ethan, Nico, and yourself too, like when you go to college, like that is a whole other for what we're used to. I'm assuming Everest is a lot more similar to college. I would think, right? Kind of
Yeah,
prepare you.
that yeah.
Exactly. So for like Ethan and Nico and myself next year, like we went from nothing to like everything all at once, and you're moving away, and you do so. There's all these different pieces getting thrown at you. That's like, oh, this is a lot.
I remember my first 6 a.m. practice there, which was just waking up at 5:30 to get to practice, and you're like, what am I doing? Like, what is going on here? Like, no coffee, no nothing. Just go, get up, put your gear on, and go. And you're like, what is happening? At 6 o'clock in the morning, and then your first
Oh,
class.
Nico's back.
There he
Here we
is.
go.
He's back.
And
I
like
am back.
your
For the people that are listening, Nico's been gone for like 10 minutes doing like dealing with his Wi-Fi. So
Sorry about that.
and yeah, get there and you're going all out for 2.5 hours at practice, and then you have class in an hour and a half after that. And you're like,
yeah,
I feel like I'm already tired. Like I want to go to bed, and it's
the
only
day's done. Yeah.
like already it's only 10 o'clock, and you're like, I just want to crawl into bed. So yeah, it
Yeah,
was
dude,
that was
those are terrible. And then you're like, it's like a boring lecture that you just sit there like heads nodding down, like
yeah.
yeah, no, those are terrible. And then you got lift probably in the afternoon, and like then when the
Uh,
season comes, then you also have like you'll have your film and the yeah,
we
it's
got
I can understand how big of a jump that is.
we got lucky. We had 3 lifts and 3 practices a week in the
That's
fall.
good.
Obviously, like the fall is your kind of lighter season,
Yeah.
and we got lucky that Monday, Wednesday was the 6 a.m. practice with no lift, and then Tuesday, Thursday was 8 a.m. lift, and then Friday was practice and lift. So it was like we kind of got a good balance, but that first couple of weeks to get used to that was something.
Yeah. Dude, it's wow. My freshman year we did the whole fall at 6 a.m. And it's like you gotta and it's like people are like, oh, 6 a.m.'s like not always terrible, but like you gotta wake up at 5
Yeah,
because you gotta like be somewhat awake to like go practice, maybe get a quick snack, a breakfast or something. At least for ourselves, like the dining hall's not open until like 7 o'clock. So it's like you gotta figure out something, maybe make food in your dorm. And like as freshmen, at least, I don't know about your schools, but like we don't have any like kitchen or like toasters or anything. You're like it's 2 beds and like a closet. Like
yeah,
that's
that's
all you have. You maybe have a mini counter to store your food. Like
yeah.
and so it's like you got to do that and then yeah, it's I don't know. It's crazy how like you can't as much as like Everest prepared me for like the amount of work, you still there's no way to actually be ready to like go to college. Like maturity, mental strength of like being able to do all of that classes. Now you're also with a bunch of random people that your coach was like, these guys are gonna fit together. And so
Yeah.
you got to make it work, and you got to, new friends and new group, and um, yeah, it's wild. Nico, just to kind of bring you in the loop, we kind of went from the change of Canada and the States, like culture wise, all that stuff, and then start to talk about how Champlain was actually kind of a good transition for you guys in a way where you leave home, but you're not too far, and then you
Yeah.
kind of take that next step of going further. I don't know how that affected you. You said that it was kind of a lot easier that it sounds like from Ethan, but is there anything that kind of you were like, wow, that was kind of tough to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, like you mentioned, I think like living away from home from like 17 to like 19, 20 really did make like a big difference. And like also mixed with the age, it's like I was a 20-year-old freshman, plus I've been living on my own for 3 years. Definitely
Yeah.
set me up like more for success, and that's like one thing about CJEP that I think is really beneficial for like maturity wise, even if it's like makes your life more difficult for like recruiting and whatnot. Like just as a person, I think it does shape you and give you like an advantage. So it's like I'm showing up to school where a lot of these people are like 17, 18 years old, first time being away from home. And for me, it's like I've already been through this, so I definitely think like it did give me like a big advantage and helped me like transition from okay, I'm 2 hours away from home, and now it's like I'm in the U.S. 6 hours away. It was like a jump, but I think like it was like much easier just because of like my past like
Yeah, yeah,
living situation.
yeah. All right, I got a question in my DMs this week. And I have to ask you guys because I was not sure how to answer it because I didn't get to experience that, but it's perfect that you guys are now on with me. So the question is actually, so this a mom reaches out. Her son wants to go to the United States, play in the NCAA. But I believe he's gonna like so go through CJEP or something. Her question is basically, how does the eligibility work? Like, do you lose eligibility years going to CJEP, or you guys still have all 4 years? You have no problems with that. Like, all that is fine.
We have everything.
Yeah,
We're good.
we keep all 4 years.
Yeah.
Right.
It
Prepare for NCAA eligibility center though.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
that's something. That is a
that's
nightmare.
different.
Coming from Quebec.
Yeah. Yeah. That website sucks, dude. That's terrible. But
No,
all
you
right.
you
So
keep
even
all.
if you played 3 years, there's
Yeah.
no problems. You still have all 4 years. Because I think if you look it up online, I think for certain sports, they like consider that the level is like kind of the same, so they like take eligibility years out, which is probably just for like hockey or something. Okay, but that's good to know because I had no idea. She asked me that, and I was like, I guess I'll look it up because like I personally have no idea.
You
Sweet.
keep
Which I don't know why they would. Like that would be kind of stupid to be honest. Especially that there's more high school years in the States and Ontario and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like you kind of basically even those out with your CJP years.
All the
Um
class stuff that they do as well in the States. You can reclass, you can post grad, like all those things.
yeah. Yeah, like you'll still have Americans that are coming into freshman year at 20 years old. Like we had like two of them. So it's like and it's just because either he reclassed like you said, like you just decide to drop a class or like sweet. All right. The last thing I actually want to ask is for Nico to help Liam in a way in preparing him for either the university itself at Stack or just kind of like what to do this summer to be ready to attack the team and the education there.
Yeah, so for me, I guess yeah, me and Liam we spend like obviously we're playing on the same team, so we spend a lot of time together. Like we're with each other probably 3 to 4 days a week, typically, like depending on how many games we'll have in a weekend. So whenever I can, and like one thing I admire and I think a lot of people should do, which is easier said than done. Because I'm someone that I don't like to ask questions. Liam is the opposite. Like he jokes around sometimes. It's like, oh, I asked him way too many questions, but I think that's like essential. Like when you're navigating this new path, like ask a lot of questions. And he asked me questions, and I'm like more than happy to like help out any way like I can. And the biggest thing I would say is just prepare to balance your life when it comes to sports and school, because being a student athlete for us like at Champlain, there was a balance that you had to do, but it's nothing compared to what me and Ethan like and you have gone through. Like for in college, I guess completely different. It's like some mornings where it's like I'll wake up at 7:30 a.m. and I won't be back in my room until like 8 after school, after practice, after film, after lift. Some days it's like sometimes you feel like it never ends, but like just remember that like this what you're going to be going through is like the dream that you wanted for the past years, and like you're finally here now. So it's like sometimes it's going to be really hard, but just remember like this is what you always wanted, and that's what I tell myself. Like some days I was exhausted physically and mentally, and it's like, man, I just want to like lie down in my bed and just like watch a movie. And it's like I don't feel like I have the time to do that. But it's like all the hours that I put in of like emailing coaches, training, practicing, all these types of things. Like I'm in the spot that I wanted to be. So just like appreciate that.
Very good. Thank you.
Some wise words from a wise man right there.
Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much, fellas. I really appreciate that from you taking the time. It's a long time that you have to take out of your day. Uh, I'll thank Zach Millsy too for
For real, like
bringing
shout out
that
to Zach
idea up.
Millsy
And
because like we didn't like get into it, but he's the reason like I started playing lacrosse. I don't know if you knew that. So shout out to him, just full circle moment.
there you go. And now your brother or his brother coaches you, which is
Exactly.
Yeah.
all right. Well, thanks, fellas. Good luck with box. Hopefully, the codes you guys can make something happen again.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. Ethan, good luck with senior lacrosse, you oldie.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a part of that too now, so it's fine. But yeah, good luck with that. And then with the school and everything, we even though we don't really like, I don't text you guys that much. Like myself, Zach, all those guys, the page, like we follow you guys. We try to keep up with what you do. So that's keep being images and helping out when you're back home. Try to go help out as much as you can and coach and give that knowledge away to other people too, because we can definitely use it back in Quebec and we need it back in Quebec. And it's especially those pats that we've talked for now an hour 40 that you guys have taken. Is a hard to do but accessible for all those guys, and we need to create that dream in Quebec where, because right now there's not enough of like we can do something with lacrosse. A lot of people just play it to play it, but like to get an education with hopefully a scholarship and stuff, like does that's what you get from it. Yeah, maybe the pro league isn't $45 million a year, but like just the fact that you get an education, you get to live a dream and do something different is something that we have to try to get more people to be able to achieve. So thanks guys, really appreciate it, and good luck with everything.
Well, thank you,
Thanks for
Jake.
having us.
Really appreciate it.
See you fellas, have a good
All right.
one.
See ya.
See you.